Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, that like and join the fam. So I wanted to start doing more videos related to real estate, and one topic that I really wanted to cover was renting. I'm going to clarify and be completely honest, how hard is it to rent in a big city? I think right now with everything going on, inflation, inflation is through the roof. See that avocado that was $2.49 last weekend, now it's $25. It's literally $25 for one avocado. No, it's not really, but if I told you it was, wouldn't you actually believe me? Like, the inflation, the cost of everything is through the roof. The cost of living, the cost of surviving. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are in position where their wages and their income does not match the rising cost of inflation. But that is a big topic. We'll have to discuss that another time. But anyways, taking into consideration inflation, that's a nice alliteration. Alliteration, inflation, consideration. There we go. Back to being serious, because this topic is not very fun. With increasing housing prices, that also increases the prices of rentals. Homes in general, whether you're an investor or an end user, they are absolutely through the roof. And it's not just in Canada, it is literally all over the world. That's why this video is not going to be related just to Toronto. I think it's relatable in lots of other places as well. The rental market has been literally a whirlwind the last 12 months. During COVID 2022 in particular, the price of rentals was low. The cost of rentals were going down because a lot of people was just leaving. They were leaving the city. They were no longer needed in the office. They were now working remote. So people that were paying, let's say, $2,400 for a 600-foot condo downtown now realize, oh my god, I can get nearly a whole house for that price. A lot of these big cities that, you know, rental prices are notorious for being sky high because of COVID. A lot of people were leaving the city. Why would they spend all this money to be in a small condo downtown, to be close to the office when they don't even need to be in the office? So how hard is it to rent in a big city? I'm going to be honest, it's difficult. Landlords are very, very picky. They want people that have COVID-proof jobs. They want people that have good credit. They want people that have stable income. There's a whole package, a tenant profile, which they acquire. They pay a real estate agent, so a listing agent, to list their property for rent to find great tenants. A part of that is, you know, you look through the application, you look through the documents, you vet them, you call the references, you call the employers. You know, there's a couple of different things that happen, and if you meet their criteria, they're open to working with you. But that's just one part of it. So I'm going to go through the things you need to be aware of when renting in a big city. Number one is income. Depending on where you live, where you want to live, and the rental market there, income is a huge factor in your rental application. So let's say you're a single person, you live downtown Toronto, you want a condo that's $3,000 a month. Very expensive for one person, but it's just an example. If you're going to be paying $3,000 a month as a single person for a condo, you need to be making technically triple the amount of your rent. That's something that landlords look for, that your rent, that the cost of your rent is not, you know, just a little bit below your income, because that leaves no extra funds for a rainy day, you know, for emergencies, if you get let go of your job, if, you know, you have a big expense that you have to look after, there's no money to protect you. You would need to be making $9,000 a month as a single person. The second thing you need to really be prepared that's going to be scrutinized is your credit score. Credit score is basically how you're ranked on your liability in terms of payments, how reliable you are to make payments, to pay things back, things like loans, if you're leasing a car, if you're renting, if you have a mortgage. If you go 6 months without paying your phone bill, that will really negatively impact your credit score. If you go 2 months without paying your mortgage, that will impact your credit score. And I have seen that people have, you know, been in situations where their credit score was low, but the actual inquiries on their account isn't relevant. But unfortunately, that can take quite a while to fix. The third one is your lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, again, landlords are different, but let's say you're a landlord and there's 2 applications to rent your property. One is a couple in their 30s. They both have corporate jobs, they both work 9 to 5, they have no kids, they don't smoke, they have no pets, and they're both making $200,000 a year. Versus, let's say, a family of 4, they have 2 kids under the age of 5, only the dad works, and they also have a dog and a cat. Initially, you're going to lean towards the couple because the income is higher, you know they're working professionals, you know when there's no pets or no young kids, there's less risk of damage. Landlords can make whatever decision they want, as long as it's not blatantly obvious that there's any sort of discrimination going on. Landlords initially can rent their property to anybody they want. If they say no, there's really not much you can fight over. Trust me, I've been in the other corner. I've really fought to have, you know, great clients of mine get places, and you're just, you know, you're fighting a dead end. If you have rental history in Canada, let's say the last place you stayed in for 2 years, the year before that you stayed in for 3 years, it's like, okay, they're long-term tenants, they're not looking to move around every year, which saves them putting their place back on the market each year, paying the realtor fees, maybe getting it professionally cleaned, maybe having it repainted each time. As an investor, you want longevity of income versus, you know, having things in limbo. It might be on the market for 2 months at a time, things like that. Renting in general, but specifically in a big city, it's difficult if your profile is seen as less than average. I'm not saying I agree with this. I am completely diplomatic. I see both sides of it, but you also, when you put yourself in their position, if you bought, let's say, a condo and it was the $700,000 condo, that's not a cheap investment. That could be all of your life savings. That could be, you know, your first home, and now you're living with your partner, so you're very attached to it. You want to make sure that the person living there loves and respects it as much as you do, and also pays on time, so you're not in default. So you have to kind of look at landlords the same way as you look at a lender. If you're going to a bank and you want to take out a mortgage, they are only going to approve you of a mortgage if you tick their boxes. A landlord is only going to want to rent out to a tenant that ticks their boxes. The bank is lending you money to buy an asset. The landlord is lending you their property to live in. So just, that's kind of a way to see it from a corporate standpoint. Next, we're going to talk about what do you need. What documents do you need when you're renting? So there's different rules in different countries, but in North America, typically in Canada, you need a full credit report, you need proof of income, so a letter of employment with 2 pay stubs if you're working for someone or a company. If you're self-employed, you typically need notice of assessment, maybe up to like the last 2 years. You need to sometimes show your bank statements or proof of savings. You also need to fill out a rental application. So the rental application, which you can get online, if you're working with a realtor, they should provide this to you. Another thing that is needed is any references you have. So if you have a previous landlord reference, Ontario specifically, when you apply for a place, you're usually required to pay 2 months up front, so first and last month. First month goes without saying, it's your first month. Last month's rent is usually held as a deposit. Let's say after your lease is up in 12 months and you want to leave, you give your landlord 60-day notice. You only have to pay 1 more month's rent, and then your last month's rent that was held as a deposit will cover your last month's rent. So if you are new to Canada and you don't have rental history, you don't have a credit report, you don't have a stable income yet, my advice is be prepared that you may have to pay additional months up front, like up to 6 months maybe, to secure a place. Another option is you could get an Airbnb temporarily until you have built up a little bit of a credit score, you have stable income. The minute you land here, once you open a bank, get a credit card. Even if it's only a small limit of $500, use the credit card for everything, pay it off right away. You won't believe how much that helps your credit score. I've been on every side of the rental process. I've represented the landlords, so if they, if they have requirements that they want a really good tenant that is going to pay their bills on time, has a good job, is not going to struggle to pay their rent, that is their right. But also I've been on the other side where it's really difficult for people to, secure a place or to find something to call home, or they want to be in a certain place because the school is good for their children, and maybe their score isn't great, or maybe they just started a job, but it's like you just want someone to give them a chance because you know how great they are. Real estate business is a business. It can be transactional unless you are lucky and people can see beyond the paperwork and can connect with you and have that good experience. I've also been on the other side where I've been looking for a place to rent myself, and it was at a time where I was in between jobs. I didn't really have that much savings behind me. My credit score was good, but my income just wasn't where it needed to be. Thankfully at the time I had a roommate. The both of our profiles together was a pretty good package. So that's also another thing. If you're not strong by yourself, find a roommate that the two of you combined, your income makes sense. You're less focused on just one credit score. If your credit score is a little bit lower but your roommate is high, that can balance out well because there is someone in good standing in the home. So don't be discouraged. Like right now it is really tough. Even me, like I work on commission only, so when I'm running around the city and I'm putting in offers and I'm really hopeful that we're going to get something and I want something from my clients, but then I'm also like, oh, like I've worked really hard, I want to see this go through, and then it doesn't go through, and it's like, it's so draining and it's so disheartening and it's so discouraging. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. It is tough out there, but these pockets of stress will not last forever. Just keep your head up, be positive, and I promise you something will work out. And if it's not through a realtor, there's Facebook groups online, you can rent a room, you can maybe look at rental buildings. Like there is different options. Sometimes you just have to lower your expectations and be a little bit more optimistic about other choices. But that's really it from me, guys. If anyone has any questions, if anyone lives in Toronto and needs help, or even needs a little bit of advice about the industry or the market, leave me a message. I also have my Instagram linked below and my email. Feel free to reach out to me. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. See you soon.